Hey there, welcome back friends. Today we will discuss about serialization of objects. So let's get started. In order to understand this concept, let's take a class. The name of the class would be vehicle, and inside this class we won't be adding the main method. So here is our class. Moving forward, inside this class we would be adding two properties. These two properties would be private entities, and the name of the property would be firstly type, and the second property would be a int property whose name would be number. These will denote the type of the vehicle and the number of the vehicle. Here we go. Now in order to initialize these two properties, we will be adding a constructor. So we will right click and generate a constructor for these two fields. Here is the constructor. We won't require the call to super method, so let's get rid of it. Moving forward, we would be also adding the toString method for this particular class that will help us to print the object directly and save some time. So we will right click, navigate to source, and let's generate the toString method. Now moving forward, we would be adding a yet another class by the name of writeObject, and inside this class we will have the main method. Now friends, in order to understand how to write a object, firstly let us create two objects. First object name would be bike, and we will initialize the type as bike as a string entity, and the number would be some random number. Let's add in a yet another object of vehicle type. This time the name of the object would be maybe car, and the type of the object would be definitely car, and we will again use some random number. Here we go. Now in order to understand whether everything is working properly or not, let us quickly try to print one of the object and try to check whether we are able to run this application or not, and here is the output. Perfect. Alright, so moving forward, we would be making use of try with resources. Now friends, try with resources was introduced with version 1.7 of Java. So make sure that your version of Java is either 7 or above. Now in here we will be making use of something known as file output stream. Let us create an object of file output stream, and we need to also provide the path for the file. So the path of the file would be steadyeasy/vehicles.dat. Dat extension stands for data file. Alright, so let's proceed further. As soon as we save the changes, Eclipse will start complaining, and we need to handle the exception properly. So let us add the catch blocks, and inside the catch block we would be adding very simple system.out.println messages. So let's do that. In here the message would be file not found, and the other message would be IO exception. So two very simple messages. Now friends, let's proceed further. Inside this external try block, we would be adding a yet another try block. Now friends, if we have try inside try, then the external catch blocks can handle the internal issues as well. If the internal try block encounter with an exception, then external catch block will handle the exception easily. So take a note of it. Now let's proceed further. The internal try block will make use of object output stream, and we need to also pass on the file output stream object to the constructor of object output stream. Now we are all set, and we can write the information in our file. So let's do that. So we will pass on the information which is there inside the bike object, and we will do the same with the car object, and the information would be written in our file if exist. So the file needs to be there in the path, else there would be an exception. So let's proceed further and do the required things, and I suppose everything is good enough, and it would be good if we print something on console as the notifier that the information is returned to the file. So in here we will simply print a very simple message which would be object written onto the file. Alright, so now let's proceed further. If I execute this program, then it is giving us a file not found exception. There is a small typo as well in there. We will fix it later. Alright, so now the reason is because file is not there. So in here, let me firstly create a steady easy folder, and then let's create a file by the name of vehicles.dat, so that the file would be there in the location. So now we have the file, and now we can definitely execute the program, and again there is a IO exception. Let me do one thing. Let me print the stack trace as well, and this will help you to understand what exactly is going wrong. Now, if I execute the program, the error is not serializable exception. The reason is pretty simple. When we are writing information, the information needs to be serialized. The information should not interfere with each other. As a result, we must implement serializable interface inside our class vehicle, and this will fix the issue. Now friends, moving forward, if we open the vehicle.dat file, then definitely the object information is written into the file. This file is not human readable, but we will be writing a class by the name of write object which will be able to read this information. So let's check this out. Alright, so now proceeding further, we would be adding this new class by the name of read object, and inside this read object class we will have the main method. Definitely it is very much possible to have multiple main method in a application, and which is very usual as well. Now inside this particular file and inside this particular class, in fact, we will make use of try with resources once again, and this time way around the class which we will make use of is file input stream in order to read the information. And inside the object we need to give the path of the file, so let's do that. The path of the file is steadyeasy/vehicles.dat. Alright, now as soon as I save the changes, definitely Eclipse will start complaining. Let's add the clauses of try. So we have added the catch clauses for try. Now let us get rid of the auto-generated stub in order to make the program look little better. Now moving forward, inside this try we will again make use of a try, and this time we will make use of object input stream class. So let's make use of it, and the name of the object could be like obj, and moving forward inside the constructor we will be passing on the object of file input stream type. So let's do that. Now moving forward, inside this try block we will be creating two objects, object v1 and object v2. Now friends, whenever we are reading information, we don't know what information we will receive, so we will give some random names like v1 and v2, right? And in order to receive object of a vehicle type, we need to cast the information which we are reading, because the object could be of any type. So firstly we need to cast, and then we need to store the object. So we will cast it based on our vehicle class. So let's do that. Now once it is done, definitely we can proceed further. For that we need to add the catch block, and the catch block would be class not found exception. Suppose the class vehicle is not present, then definitely this exception will occur, and we need to handle the exception inside our catch block. Now everything is done, and we can try to print the information which is there inside v1 and v2. Let's do that. We will also add in a very simple message object 1, and then we will print v1. We will do the same with object 2. So let's do that real quick. Here we go, and that's it. So the information is printing properly, and this is amazing. Now friends, proceeding further, if we check vehicle.java file, in here there is a warning of serial ID, and we can make use of generated version ID. Now this version ID is what? Why there is this version ID? Let us try to understand this. Now this version ID is nothing but a identification for the class. Now in here, if we take help of read object.java file or write object.java file, nothing is going wrong, and we are rerunning the application, so the information is rewritten on our vehicle.dat file. Now for example, we make a slight change in our version ID. Then what happens is, if we now try to read the information, then it will say that the version ID is incorrect. Let me expand this and show you. So it will say that the serial version ID has changed. Invalid class exception, right? So in here, check this properly. Firstly, it is saying that it had this particular version ID in the file, but the local version is something different. So there is a inconsistency when we are trying to cast the information which is there in the vehicle.dat file. Try to understand this. We are casting the information using some other vehicle version ID class, whereas we are reading some other vehicle id class. So when we are trying to cast the information, there is some inconsistency, some issue with the version id. Now friends, this particular methodology of making use of serial ID is good because this provide us a additional layer of consistency so that there is no inconsistency throughout the application, and we are making use of the exact class for casting the information while reading from a file. So this is a additional thing which you must know. So I suppose the concept of serialization of object is now known to you, how we can write information on a file. These files are not text file, rather these are data file. So these are the things which are important, and in Java programming world you may need to do these operation often. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and take care.